Alright, welcome to Dark Souls. Been looking at some of the replies here. Not a whole lot of them, but enough. I could probably let it go for another week or so, but I'm kind of impatient to start. It's been a long time since I played this, so... The problem, earlier, I talked about it in a couple videos, with DS Fix on, you can't have anti-alias AA or motion blur on. That thing I can't say, or motion blur on, or it causes problems with the resolution. And I think all this is alright. I'm not even sure how we move over from it. I don't... Okay. Okay. Now, what people said they wanted here was the following. There we go. Don't have enough room for the whole piecewise, so piece the fat. I don't believe there was anyone who specified specifically which gender we should be, although there was one person asking for a small-headed female thief, so we'll go female. Class? Thief, of course. Physique? Very large. Gift? We get the Master Key as part of our thief equipment. So what I'm gonna go for here, I could use black fire bombs to beat the Asylum Demon in our first encounter, but it really serves no purpose to me since all he does is drop a not very good strength weapon, and I still have to go through the level anyway to pick up my equipment. So we'll be getting the Old Witch's Ring for effects later. Hair. I am partial to the bun, or the braided. We'll go with braided. It doesn't look half bad. Color. I'm just gonna hold the button and close my eyes here for a few seconds. That one. Okay. Ended up with dark red. And now to customize. And we will ask for a very different face. And we will press this button until this face is so fucked up that it passes right through the mask they give us in the beginning. We're getting close. We're getting there. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Well, it's sort of clipping through. We certainly look very... We look shocked. Let's try a little bit more. Please don't look at me. You went back down to same face as opposed to different. That's pretty good, I think. Maybe a little more. No. We're heading back towards normal. Sort of. That is the beauty. That is the beauty I think we all desired. Yes. And she is clipping through her mask, just slightly. Let's see how the face actually looks. As you can tell, the face that you get in the customized thing is slightly different from the face that you'll get in the finished product. There is some sort of algorithm in there that reduces extreme facial features. But she's still a purple-skinned weirdo with dark blue or not aftershave, but dark blue 5 o'clock shadow and eyes like some sort of lizard creature. So I think she'll do. So begins the journey of Peace the Fat. There's my mouse again.
In the age of ancients,
it won't go away.
The world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arched trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire. And with fire came disparity.
The wealth gap appeared.
Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark.
Capitalized, you'll notice. Light and dark are both capitalized because they are proper things.
From the dark, they came.
There it is again.
And found the souls of lords within the flame. Nito, the first of the dead.
He's just playing Nito.
The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of Chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight,
who just lit his crotch on fire.
Lights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten.
I don't even remember him.
With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons.
The strength of lords in his choir.
Gwyn's mighty bolts peeled apart their stone skins. The witches weaved great firestorms.
How is fire effective against a stone dragon?
Nito
For that matter,
unleashed a miasma
how is miasma
of
effective against a stone dragon? I wouldn't think they'd care much.
And Seath the Scales betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more.
You think Seath actually killed all these dragons here, or was he just posing on top of them? They're on fire, but he doesn't breathe fire.
Thus began
He breathes
the
lasers.
age of fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers,
Please don't bring me back to life.
and man sees not light.
I finally
only
managed to die.
endless lights.
Couldn't you have brought me back when I was a little less
And
rotten?
amongst the living are seen
This is very uncomfortable for me.
carriers of the accursed dark side.
Most of my skin has fallen off already. I'm not a fan. Not a fan of this existence you've given me. I would prefer not this. Uchikatana. Good, dex weapon.
Yes, indeed. The dark sign brands the undead. And in this land, The undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are locked away to await the end of the world. This is your fate.
Indeed it is. Peace the Fat, much like myself, has been locked within a stone chamber, forever forgotten by the outside world. Although, unlike myself, she will soon be escaping. Smurf jerky. Why did you put it in his ass? Oscar. Oscar, why did you put the key in his ass? And then a flare by the look of it. Old witch's ring. Will be important later. Oh dear. Such lovely textures in this game. Very high detail. You never see it in the console versions, about how much detail there is in all these textures. It's part of the problem that, or I should say, it's part of the reason why this game runs so poorly on PC. All of those high-definition textures that were formerly obfuscated with blurring and such are now on full display everywhere. Let's put back on our clothing. We don't want Tumblr coming after us. Oop. Forgot the menu. Hey, Dungeon Selkie. Which looks like that. A mysterious knight, without saying a word, shoved a corpse into the cell, and on its person was this key. Who is this knight, and what was his purpose? There may be no answers, but one must still forge ahead. Oh, and of course our master key. Universal key that opens any basic lock. Tool of trade for thieves. But in this cursed land of the undead, most doors are better left unopened. There are actually relatively few locks which the master key effectively unlocks. Many of them are important. Oh, by the way, these show the basic controls, but I think we're good. At least I am. How are you doing, sir? So, part of our our playthrough here is we have a few parameters by which we will play the game. One of them is that we will not kindle our bonfires, meaning I will not burn humanity in bonfires in order to increase my number of held Estus flasks. As such, we're going to be going for some healing spells and probably eating a lot of humanity if we can manage it, because there are some very necessary parts of this game for healing, like Blighttown, when I am inevitably... Hey look, it's the Asylum Demon. It's not fine yet. When I am inevitably in poison and slowly dying and need some way to extend my life so that I can actually get some items and stuff from down there. The gear we will be going for is we are going to eventually lose our starting gear here in favor of a Balder Knight shield and sword. Two items which are known somewhat for their difficulty in finding. Mostly because they spawn randomly. And we all know that the RNG is a cruel mistress at best. So, I will probably be cutting some sections of video where I grind up the Balder Knight shield and sword. But beyond that, we will probably be wearing a variety of different armors. I've been asked only to use, whatchamacallit, medium armor, so I'll stick to that. The one that I know how to get to the quickest and easiest is the Elite Knight armor, which is also a very good set of armor, so it's a win-win there.
Oh, you.
It is the armor he is wearing.
You're no hollow.
He's also using the
I'm done for, I'm
Crest
afraid.
Shield, I believe it is called, and an Astora Straight Sword, which is a straight sword that scales with strength, dex, and faith, meaning it does a little bit of magical damage.
Regrettably, I have
You've got an
failed
oddly
in my
colored
mission,
shadow,
but
sir.
perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family: "Thou who art undead art chosen."
Stare into my dead eyes and know
Undead
that your
asylum,
future is provided
maketh
for.
Pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringest the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt meet. Well, now you know, and I can die with
My little
one
knife
heart.
has seen better days.
Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask. An undead favorite. Oh, and the... Now I'm...
Let's look at what we just got. Ooh. Forgive me. It's been a while. This is our target shield, our starting shield. It is a parry shield. In other words, a shield that does not... It doesn't block very well, but it is better for parrying attacks. This is our starting weapon. It is a knife that is very good at critical attacks, parrying, or backstabs, and also has bleeding affixed to it, meaning that it will be very good against the upcoming Asylum Demon, because while it won't do much damage with each individual strike, it will build up bleeding until that procs and he loses a large chunk of his health. Look at our armor here real fast. I believe it is essentially identical between all pieces. Maybe the mask is different. Yes. For the most part, different pieces of armor don't change their description too much. Those are the descriptions for what we have. Here's a description for our Estus Flask. You can see it here references a Keeper's Soul, which is in reference to Firekeeper Souls, the item used to upgrade it. That is a item used on co-op in order to disconnect either your cooperators or yourself from a cooperator. And this is a item that allows you to respawn at a bonfire. It is essentially put in here because occasionally From Software games are a bit buggy and you may get stuck somewhere. And since they auto-save all the time, this is a I am stuck somewhere, please help me sort of thing. He also gave us a key. This one. And that sound you just heard was him dying. If we go back in there, he'd be gone. But there's no reason. Let's try to parry this guy. Parrying was something I was good at with the, Unfortunately, these guys have one secret technique. Here's a parry. The secret technique of these guys is they are slower than you think they will be. Oftentimes that is the really dangerous thing. It's not that you're not quick enough, it's that you are too quick. I was very good about parrying with the built-in parry of, or built-in parry R2 of the, whatchamacallit, the, well darn. The built-in parry of the rapier in Dark Souls 2. It had a really big parrying for, parry. Or very easy to use parry, I should say. Oh darn. Well, let's do this. That is a mention of one of the key mechanics of the game. Resting at bonfires revives enemies. Bonfires replenish your Estus flasks, but they revive the enemies around them. And the enemies in the entire world, really, but enemies in other areas would revive when you left anyway, I think. Or would they? No, it just resets the area. It doesn't revive enemies, I don't believe. Good night, sweet prince. This door leads to a separate section of this place, which we will come see later in the game. I just noticed that my mask here appears to be adhering to a nose that does not exist. Frightful. Now then, let's see about beating this demon. If we linger too long up here, he will jump and hit us, so... bit late. There we go. Simple. Look at that key, which fits the door directly behind us. This is the first indication that we are the chosen undead. Oscar, the guy who we were talking to earlier, somewhat hints at it, but this is probably the first really big hint that we are the chosen undead because we got this key, and apparently this key only goes to the chosen undead. You can hear something quite big still jumping around or stomping around. There's another one of these demons, much stronger one, down below. We'll be back to him later. I don't know if you noticed him, but you can actually see him in the beginning. I'll show you that real fast. Boy oh boy, that corset of ours is just straining. Yes, he's right there. Above it is the courtyard we were just in. As you can see, he's very similar, but he has a different weapon. He also has a bunch of magic powers that make him much harder to fight. Onward. I'm still struggling a bit to get over the Bloodborne combat and mechanics. Why in Bloodborne, or Triangle if you're on a PlayStation controller, which you would be playing Bloodborne, is in this game to two-hand your weapon like that. In Bloodborne, it is a dedicated drink a potion button. Although in that game it's inject blood into your thigh, but it's a dedicated healing button. And also in that game, you have a lot more stamina, are a lot quicker, can charge attacks, and in general, there are a lot of mechanics in that game that I'm going to have to unlearn for myself here. Over here, if anyone has ever played Demon's Souls, will know this sort of thing. This is a nest for Snuggly the Crow. Snuggly the Crow trades items for you if you drop certain items into her nest. Some of the trades are quite good. One of them is the trade you use in order to get the old witch's ring if you didn't pick it in the beginning. She does not appear to be here right now, but if we come back here later, she will be. We'll probably wait. She's a good way to get some Demon Titanite, which is an upgrade material.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen.
They say it would be chosen in this manner, by a giant bird attack. I've seen Animal Planet. This never goes well.
Undead asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran.
Well named. What are we gonna name the land run by ancient lords? Lordran? Sure. Sure. We'll just mix a couple of those words up. It's fine with me. And down we go. This is our bonfire that we are cooking our feet in right now. It is essentially our save point. It respawns all the enemies, but gives us more Estus flasks. This one in particular gives us 10 standard. This is what would happen if we could kindle. I would normally kindle a lot of the bonfires like the one up there in Undead Burg, but some jackass has given us the challenge to never kindle, so this will be a rather special bonfire because the rest will just give us 5. It also lets us level up in reverse hollowing, but I have no real reason to reverse hollowing right now, so I'm just gonna level up. I don't remember what the stat requirements are for the Baldur side sword or side sword or shield, so for now we're just gonna dump into dexterity, because I know it scales well with dexterity, and my weapon right now uses dexterity. Here's an NPC.
Well, what do we have here? You must be a new arrival. Let me guess. Fate of the undead, right?
Stare into my dead eyes.
But there's no salvation here. You'd have done better to rot in the undead asylum. But
I'm rotting fine right here, sir.
well, since you're here, let me help you out. There are, actually, 2 bells of awakening. One's up above in the undead church. The other is far, far below, in the ruins at the base of Blight Town. Ring them both, and something happens. Brilliant, right? Not
You wouldn't
much
happen to
more,
know what that something is,
but
would
I
you?
have a feeling that won't stop you. So,
No.
off you go. It is why you came, isn't it? To this accursed land of the undead?
I suppose so. You have a back tie there made out of metal. Humanity is one of your basic currencies in this game. It allows you to reverse hollowing, which in this game basically doesn't do much for you except allow you to summon in help for boss fights and stuff. Here, and it also gives you a lot of all your HP back. It says here restore a large amount, but it actually always restores all of it. Nice cryptic description on that thing. People have pointed out that it is, when you look at the image there, both vaguely human-shaped and also vaguely vaginal-shaped. Vaginal. Vaginal, if you're an idiot. Now, we would normally, if we were smart, be going straight up those stairs and across that aqueduct. But we're not smart, and I want something over here. First, I want to talk to this man,
I believe we are not acquainted. I am
who is a great ventriloquist because he's just talking without his mouth moving even
with
in the
us.
slightest.
If not, Hello there. I realize that I have requested that we retain our distance, but I also want you to know that it is not meant in ill will. Here, take this as a token of peace. No, go ahead. It's for you.
These coins are useless.
Oh my. Oh, I have to await
As far as
my
I know.
companions here anyway.
I don't
So
even
what
think
if
you
I
can
were
trade
to
them with
teach
the
you
crow.
some miracles? Would that?
Yes, it would.
Very well.
I would like to get into a covenant with this guy because he sells healing miracles. And healing miracles will be very useful to
Now,
our
let me share
unkindled
my
selves.
miracles.
They're also very expensive, though.
Come again. The effectiveness.
We are going to put Shrug on as our main gesture, as I will be using it a lot. Now we go up here, around here. This is a elevator shaft, actually, for what will be a later shortcut. For now, though, if we hop down here, it leads us to secret treasures. I don't think any of these will be too helpful to us. These Homeward Bones will be useful. And that talisman will be. But the Morning Star is essentially useless for me, as I am a Dex type, and the cracked red eye orbs are too. Well, maybe. We may do a little invading. Lloyd's talismans prevent people from healing via Estus in your vicinity. Mostly useless, at least in the single-player game. There are a couple instances where it might be useful against NPC attackers. Human NPC attackers like myself. Well, similar to myself. I am not a human NPC attacker. Weird string of words. But more useful in PvP to stop people from healing. Now, the graveyard is down there, and the graveyard is the ruiner of many a blind player of this game, because it's filled with skeletons that don't give much of a damn about anything except smashing or crushing weapons, and are much higher leveled than anything else around here. So what I am going to do is run down there and grab everything I can, just to show it off, and in particular, the binoculars, which are a starting item that I chose not to get. Large Sylvan Undead. Just get through here. A Zweihander, a famous strength weapon. Binoculars. Ooh. Ooh. A winged spear. There's another one there. A caduceus round shield. I believe. No, these guys are using the red and white shields, aren't they? I can't tell. Oh dear. Hello, Crow. There's an item up there. We'll come back for it later. For right now, more important to get away. Rest right here to reset them all to their positions. Take a quick look at these items. Morningstar was the weapon that cleric up there was using. Yes, This one isn't as good as the standard mace, but it does cause bleeding, which is rare in a blunt weapon. Zweihander. Scales alright with strength. This one, of course, made famous by the Giant Dad build. And the Winged Spear, a very good dex weapon, but not one we will be using. Good because you can use it from behind a shield, and it has great reach. But its thrusting-only attacks do make it rather difficult to use in some instances.